how would you feel if I took off your fly mask so everyone can see the sweetness of your eye? Would that be okay? I know you will rub on me, and that is okay with me. You can rub on me, and if it gets too much, we'll put the fly mask back on. But we are meeting you, Khalil, in this moment anew. And you might need to see your eye. Khalil is a different energy body from when I left. And each one of us is a different energy body from the last time we saw one another. So let's fully embrace that with a childlike wonder of how that can be. And Teddy is here today. Teddy came over this morning and did not want me to be mistaken about whose transmission it was. So he came over so close, just like he is now, to remind us that he has something to share with us today. But before we share that transmission, yeah, you guys, you can both amplify this, not mutually exclusive. Before we begin the transmission, let's call in the circle of energetic support that we can lean into. Really allow ourselves to be supported by. We call in the herd of light, Yoshi, Travis, Teddy, Khalil, Taz, and the unseen Omar, and all of the beings on this body of Mother Gaia, including Mother Gaia herself. And all of your most intimate animal friends. We share this endlessly circulating one heart. And all of the elements here that are dancing in the ether. Fire and water, air, earth. We call in the sky, the clouds, and space itself. We call in the mountains and rocks, crystals, and the core of Mother Gaia. The plants, the flowers, the trees, the flying ones, the insect realms, the winged ones, and those that crawl on the ground, spiders and crickets, praying mantis and little roly-polies. We call in the amphibians, the frogs, toads, the reptiles, the snakes, and the lizards. And all the glorious animal beings. That great soul disguised as golden Mustang Andre. And all the wild ones, domestic ones, who are wild at heart. And all those human brothers and sisters that are among us, and those we can't see, but we know are palpably here. In planes that are nearer than near. And we call in the canine collective, the feline collective, the Taz. We call in the Arctic beings. We call in the rainforest dwellers, the oceanic beings. The sun, the moon, the stars, galaxies, supernovas, black holes. And just call in any most intimate companion along your way. And begin to feel the circle as an ever expanding circulation. That is who you are. And then placing into the center your deepest intention as an offering. Your intention of being here right now. Feel the frequency flower of that intention. Just simply breathing it into the center of the circle. As that bouquet of all of these flowers of intention converge and then are placed upon the breath and out. It's the sweetest offering. And out by drawing in deeply first and then overflowing, simply overflowing. So let's tune in now to this month's waterfall of transmissions. We begin with a theme which we'll call porousness, or being porous. These are frequencies shared by all of nature and our truest nature. So it's nothing new to learn, but an unlearning and a bathing in a clearer remembrance together. And Teddy, thank you for this transmission. The paradox of form appearing so solid. Notice how solid everything appears. The paradox of form seeming so solid. Notice with a childlike wonderment. Notice how solid everything appears, especially you, Teddy. Teddy has always been quite intimidating to me in his form, by the way, because he is not a Tennessee Walker in form. He is a giant, barrel-chested hind end that is just solid and sleek and muscular. Quarter horse, thoroughbred mix. The fanciest barrel horse moves. And I was not familiar with such a being when he arrived. He's perfect to share this paradox of form, appearing so solid. So solid. And notice your conditioned minds and how they equate solidity with security. Very interesting. See that pathway a little more clearly now. How the mind equates solidity with security. We equate porousness with utter, true security. Many of you have used conditioning to toughen up. Many of you have been told that you have too thin of skin. But we have chosen a path of porousness, a path of being marinated by life, of staying permeable to light, same as we ever were. You have shellacked yourself with conditioning. And we have marinated in unconditional, unconditioned. But you have always been, and you always will be, thin-skinned. For skin itself is not even solid. And it feels time on this very day, where fireworks are going to be celebrating independence. It feels appropriate and totally not far-fetched to celebrate your true independence from solidity. And to marinate fully in the frequency of allegiance to porosity, the porosity of your true nature for all. Let's breathe this in as I read it again. And I apologize for my flapping papers, but we had some technical glitches. I couldn't neatly transfer these. So I'm reading them as they came out, raw, completely raw. So Teddy is winding his way back again. And you are not, you have not been mistaken. We know it has come straight from your heart. Embodied being. The paradox of form appears so solid. Notice how solid everything appears. And your conditioned minds equate solidity with security. We equate porousness with utter, true security. Many of you have used conditioning to toughen up. Many of you have been told you have too thin of skin. We have chosen a different path, a path of porousness, a path of being marinated by life, of staying permeable to light, same as we ever were. You have shellacked yourselves with conditioning, and we have marinated in unconditional unconditioning. Let's just feel that for a moment. In every cell, feel the arrangement of the water molecules to unconditioned, unconditional. The unconditioned, unconditional. As Teddy yawns and makes space for us in this quantum field open. But you have always been and always will be thin-skinned. You've always been and always will be thin-skinned. Her skin itself isn't even solid. And it feels time on this very day where fireworks are getting ready to go off to celebrate independence. It feels appropriate and totally not far-fetched to celebrate your true independence from solidity and to marinate fully in an allegiance to porosity, the porosity of your true nature for all. And then out of nowhere, this pledge of allegiance came through. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the permeable of the United States of porosity and to the vastness in which I melt, one lotus, ever opening as self-liberation and luminosity for all. So invite every cell of your subtle body and your physical body, every not solid cell to marinate in the frequency of this from the heart of nature consciousness pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the permeable of the United States of porosity and to the vastness in which I melt, one lotus ever opening as self-liberation and luminosity for all. Thank you, Teddy. As we now dance with one flow of ever opening self-liberation and luminosity for all. And feeling this independence, this freedom as our true nature. Allowing that conditioning, that shellac to melt, be melted by the vastness of who you are. Let us, in this context now, this context-less context, let us read, bathe, dive into Andre's transmission. Some excerpts that wanted to be shared in this flow of rearranging grace. From Andre. I am not going to beat around the bush now that you are all gathered here with me. I have been waiting for this very convergence to tell you all I am not what has happened to me. You see, all that happens is so not solid and is forever changing, creatively changing. Sometimes it involves pain, sometimes joy, sometimes appearing as good, and sometimes, well, you can fill in the blank, because in the world of happenings, there's always an opposite. But I am not these fluctuations of happenings. Nor do I identify myself as these comings and goings. And never have I squunched myself into thinking I am that. The wild I was born from and born in, the wild that flows through me tells me so. Tells me all I need to know. And for some reason, and I don't know why, I was destined to never forget, not even for a blink, who I am. Who I am. I am vastness. This vastness is home. I am home. Joined by I am, that I am, embodied as Travis. I am vastness. This vastness is home. I am home. So here and now, dive into this vastness, your vastness, same vastness. This vastness is simply the fully embodied space. A space of endless possibility. Ether-like vastness. Mist-like vastness. The space of grace, vastness, which everything that appears on the stage of creativity passes through passes through simply needing to and desperately asking to be blessed. To be blessed by the mist of vastness's grace as it passes by. And have you noticed everything that appears in your awareness passes by? Except this vastness, the space of grace that you are. So allow in this realer than real reality, fully in this breath. Simply allow vastness to see and hear, to taste and breathe in and breathe out every single passerby. And then all is transformed on its way through and doesn't stick like a trick, pretending to be you. Ether like vastness, mist like vastness, porous vastness. I pledge allegiance to the permeable of the United States of porosity and to the vastness in which I melt. One lotus, ever opening as self-liberation and luminosity for all. Let's marinate together, beloved, for our breath. As all seemingly solid passers-by pass through the space of grace. And on this holiest of holy days, converged here and now, feeling this freedom, being so thin-skinned, so porous, so permeable to light. Conditioning melted into the unconditional vastness of who you are. He's trying to unbuckle my belt. It's not time for lunch yet. So beloved, thank you for co-creating exactly the alchemy that we are ready for. Thank you for being ready. Thank you for your courage. And we thank